Okay, so this is going to be extremely difficult to convey, and so it has to be done in a step-by-step, incremental manner. So then eventually it will be smooth in execution. And that means the execution of the ideas. Because anytime that you take one side and say, this is the enemy and that's the enemy and you shouldn't be doing this, you shouldn't be doing that. Like I'm saying, resistance futile, resistance is bad. Well, you have to resist something or else you'll be laying down for someone to walk all over you. So you really couldn't say resistance is bad. Yeah, resistance is futile when you have it weaponized against you. But if someone's trying to come after you or trying to harm you and you resist their advances, then yeah, you could save your life. Okay, so it's even knowing how to resist, what to resist, who to resist is the main issue. And people don't even know who the enemy is, whatever that is. People don't know anything. It's crazy. And even me trying to pick it apart and figure out what the hell's going on has been a feat unto itself, trying to figure out how to say this without taking one side or the other. And I'll tell you, it's been quite interesting. But I had to also face my own childhood and face the way I was raised and face why I left home at such an early age. So that way I can understand what you're all going through. Because I know exactly what you're going through. Okay? It's the playbook. My childhood was a playbook for today. And so, you know, the system knew that resistance was the way to destroy people. And they had to figure out how they were going to develop the enemy to the point where you think you must resist the enemy. And the enemy would never be anyone in your house unless they were putting their hands on you and abusing you. And so they had to develop an enemy out there that you would resist and also cause you to have certain behaviors in reaction to what you think was the enemy that would then also destroy you in the meantime. Okay? And I don't know how you would say that. How do you even try to say that in such a way that people get it without giving them a platform, a background? And I've been giving you guys a background, but I'll give you the end result and then you'll see where the background of where I'm coming from, because it's something that is a programming that is an incremental, that someone has to, people need to, I don't say they need to, but you got to see how the programming is, and it's something that has to be done very slowly. So regardless if you are in the J world or have done my protocol or do it every so often, I don't do J juice anymore. Your family and friends are taking you down notch by notch, via physically in your presence or by their pain management recommendations via the internet. You were programmed to be so socially dependent on everyone. You failed to see the devil or demons torturing you. Wow, which is why the modern women need to learn how to be relatively self-sufficient, or else she will invite the devil into her box. Now, this sounds very cryptic, but it really is summarizing the last 19 posts that I've done. Okay? We do invite the vampires into our world. We invite them into our house. They're our friends, our family, our social gatherings, going into groups and activist type situations. We go to the doctors, we take on naturopathics, homeopathics, we take recommendations from strangers on the internet. And we've been programmed to be around people, to be invited to parties, to have birthday parties, to have traditions of gatherings. And women have been trained not to really depend on herself and have a man always do something for her. So she doesn't have to do it, and then she only does whatever the division of labor is. But I'm learning in this environment, especially in the in the cold country like Ohio. My husband's on the road. I have had to fend for myself when he's on the road, whether it's lights going out or something breaking down or something doing something, and I have to figure out how to survive that situation. Sometimes I ask him and I call him and say, hey, or let's say he wasn't around. Let's just say for shits and giggles, he wasn't around. What would I do? Well, I couldn't just ask everyone out there, hey, help me with this, because that's what? You're inviting the devil into your house when you're that dependent because you don't know how to do things. And then when you have to invite the devil into your house, like a carpenter or a plumber or an electrician or a government employee, then you have to do your due diligence to make sure you're not getting taken by one of your peers who's looking to make money or to scam you. And so women now have to really figure out how to be relatively self-sufficient, or else she will invite the devil into her box, and that devil could get her pregnant. And I'm not saying the devil like is a bad thing, but that's kind of the thing, is that we do invite the demons into our world, and then we resist them, invite them in and resist them, and that is the dance that we're in continuously. And so, yeah, I was up. Well, I fell asleep early last night, and then I was up at 2 this morning, and the energy is so insane, and the frequencies are so insane that I'm just downloading. And that's what I was doing this morning, was writing stuff. And I did go to sleep for a minute and then wake up again. But yeah, I figured out weaponized resistance, weaponized love. Some people are literally trapped. Oh, I figured that out. Some people are literally trapped right now. They can't get out. It's pretty insane. Some people are literally trapped. They can't get out. They are trapped in the jail of expectation, their own and everyone else around them. All right. So while people are looking up at the lines in the sky, you can see that in the chemtrails world, right? They fail to look at what's right next to them, destroying them. And so you know that I'm so aware of microbes and growth. I know how to handle the growth, how to handle the things that try to destroy me. Okay? And so my husband, he's a great man, and he's awesome because you've seen all of his posts, maybe not all of his posts, but he's a man like any other. He's my husband. But even though he's not actually trying to destroy me like overtly, his microbes are trying to take over me. And so I have to release those demons all the time. All right? And so I know how to handle his microbes trying to attract me, and I control the growth. And I can release the demons and eat food with absolutely no issue, and I've conditioned myself in this environment and the world. I've conditioned myself for this environment and the world. People out there have no idea what the hell's going on because they are under the influence and cured, relatively cured, or in so much pain because of resistance. The reason why you're in so much pain is because you've been resisting the body releasing. You've been resisting the body trying to come back from a deficit. People are resisting their body trying to live. And so then when they are taking all these different pain blockers, nerve blockers, or any type of remedies and cures, then the body will go into a temporary stun where it doesn't allow you to feel anything. And then one day those cures wear off, and then the pain will be double and triple. That's what's going on. I knew the strategy, weaponizing resistance and love. Fucking genius. The system fooled you, made you resist them with remedies and surgeries, but made it almost impossible for you to resist your sexual urges, needing to be around so many people and your friends and family. They made it almost impossible for you to resist drugs and alcohol and the pleasures and paradise. Hold on a second. Weaponized resistance means you resist the things not out to get you, but you let the devil into your living room. I knew everything was inverted. I knew the system programmed people to love the things that would destroy them. That's why they weaponized love, because love is impossible to resist. They made you resist pain so much that you invited the devil into your living room. And when you resist pain, destruction is imminent. When you resist your own self-inflicted pain and you invite everyone into your world to take away the pain, they only make it worse. And they add more to it. Even your pets add more to the additional microbes that you have to release that are also attacking you. That was how they weaponized resistance and love against you. And then you're easier to convince you need someone to surgically take everything out of your body little by little, or stop your immune system from releasing. That's how easy it is for people to go to the hospital and get operations, because now they have been broken down by their friends, their family, their system, psychologically, biophysically, And so now they're giving themselves away to the fucking system. They're holding their own hand, taking themselves to the morgue. It's fucking genius. The system made you soft with children and animals and needing to be around people. The system made you soft with family and friends. So then now in this environment, you're like putty in their hands. The system made the grip of your friends and family so tight you couldn't resist them. They made your friends so manipulative that you couldn't resist their advances. And then when you're so lonely, you would find a way to get back into the circle or only be destroyed by the circle. They program you to attack the things that would help you. Like me, I was trying to warn you guys on so many levels. And invite the things that would destroy you. They made people so adverse to change that anyone that they perceived threatened the way they live would be the enemy. At first it was the outsiders that were the enemy, right? And now it's your inner circle. And you can't tell people that because they're so programmed, they can't stop whatever they're doing. It's out of their control. The environment is so influential, people cannot change. They are literally robots. It's freaking fascinating to watch. It's trippy. I remember how much I was controlled when I was skinny, like 20-something years ago, over 20 years ago. And I remember I was like, I'm a fucking robot doing what I'm doing. It was so crazy. You are literally controlled by the fucking demon within when it's so influential. And when you're skinny, that demon is very influential. When you're bigger, then you have that fight. That's why people get heart attacks and strokes when they're bigger, because the body is trying to fight to push those demons through the system to get it to the areas where the system can corral them and get them out of your body. But people stop the fight. They harm themselves through surgeries, through medicine, through remedies. Oh, it's crazy. And so now the outsiders and the insiders are people's enemies. And they are attacked from both sides, even though the outsiders have done nothing to them. Bill Gates did nothing to them. Jillian did nothing to them. Everybody out there that isn't in your house, that you're listening to, that you're resisting, hasn't done shit to you. But it was their friends and family who've done everything to them. You're duped. We've all been duped, okay? Including me. Remember, I'm part of that too, okay? So no matter what, I'm the enemy to everyone, whatever, right? Because I'm introducing something different. Because I will always be an outsider. But I don't care. But I do. But it doesn't even matter. I'm saving myself. Okay? And so, yeah, I mean, I've had to struggle with not being accepted by the world and whatever. And by circles of people because I was so different. And I resisted that. They would cause me to leave that circle because I wasn't going to get what I thought I needed. And so that actually was my saving grace. The fact that people didn't understand me and I didn't understand them or tried to change them or whatever, that was my saving grace. I'm glad I didn't assimilate to my peers. I'm so fucking glad, because they would destroy me. And that's what I'm saying right now. Your peers will destroy you. Your peers are not benevolent. Your peers have a fucking agenda. Now you got to figure out, even your peers are the government. That's what's crazy. Is that your peers, some of your peers are run by the government. And so then you're like, well, that's why I'm anti-government, Jillian. Yeah, because your peers have been radicalized. Now you have to figure out, you can't be anti-government. You can't be like, oh, I'm pro-government everything. Now you got to figure out, discern, what is it that you are intending with your government and your community. And you realize your peers' microbes are going to attack you, and their recommendations and assimilation are going to destroy you. Your government's going to make it easy for you to destroy yourself. So then you figure out, okay, so what is my government? And my relationship with my government is now paying the taxes so I can live in a relatively safe infrastructure and take care of my licenses and make sure I'm financially responsible when I'm in a car or I have a house. And that's pretty much it. That's my relationship with my government. My peers in this environment, they will attack you, whether physically if they don't like you or microbially if they love you. And so that's why I'm married to one person. I don't hang out with too many people, and I pick and choose what's worth getting sick over at this point in this environment. But I'll tell you, man, people don't realize to what extent this runs, as far as how deep this runs, as far as the programming, the psychological programming, the biophysical programming. And wow, holy shit. People in weaponized resistance will attack first, and that's how you can prosecute them. This is what I wrote this morning at 2 o'clock in the morning. I had this epiphany at 2 in the morning, right? That's why you saw January 6th, the government did not stop people's intentions. And you know that because people were saying, well, they opened up the gates for them. They moved the barricades so they can come in. Yeah, because if the government would have resisted in January 6th, they would have a lot more casualties than what they had before. The fact that they allowed people to break the windows and flood in and even go into the different rooms and offices. And you saw people their intention was to overthrow. And so then then someone got shot and someone died, and then somehow everyone left, and I forget exactly how that ended. But then you saw all the different prosecutions, the court cases. You saw then the Make America Great Again people were now demonized because they did something that was definitely against the Constitution. They tried to do that back in 1960s. The Weather Underground. And some of the Weather Underground members were put in jail for that. You're not supposed to overthrow the government. Yes, we understand that there's been discrimination, civil rights issues, women's rights issues, all that stuff. But there's a way to do it. And back then, I couldn't tell you if, I'll just say this. The 1960s was something that weaponized love, weaponized a lot of things, made people so radicalized where they thought they could overthrow, and they took the playbook and they're like, okay, if you want to make change, you make the change within, and you condition people for change, condition them for tolerance, condition them to be able to handle the environment. And if they can't, then you give them everything in the world and you let them play out their intolerances to the point of where they overstep their boundaries, and you prosecute them. And so that's why you saw January 6th, the government did not stop people's intentions. The people did it to themselves. The government did not resist what people were intending to do. So you saw what the people's intentions were when given the opportunity. The clue is in all this, okay, is not to be so radicalized that you attack first, putting yourself into position to be prosecuted. Now you must be smarter than everyone around you. It pays to have discernment of what actually is an attack against you and what you think is an attack against you. And if no one is coming into your house and no one is targeting you specifically, you have no room to attack anyone in defense. Okay, you always defend yourself. But that doesn't mean you attack somebody else. And when you defend yourself, you better have evidence that someone attacked you. You better have evidence to justify attacking somebody else in defense. See, when someone comes onto my page like that dude that was trying to politely convert me to be anti-government, he came on my page with the intention to convert me in a polite way or an attack. Man, there was little nuances of insult, but I let that go because I know how people are. I gave them the benefit of the doubt. And then the comment and the attempt and the intention to convert was becoming more obvious. And then you see that there are even manipulative attacks, gaslighting, trying to find ways to get in and try to convert you. And so when someone's coming onto your page, coming into your house, when someone is saying your name and targeting you, but hey, people say shit about me all the time, I don't even go and entertain them. I don't care. But when they come into your world and find ways to get in, they are actively attacking you, so you have the right to defend yourself. When someone is not coming into your house and they're on your property, you're not supposed to go and attack them. And if you feel that you're in danger, then you call the police. But if they end up in your house, then you have every right to use whatever force you need to use. But if you're not in imminent danger, then there's no reason to go and attack somebody. That's how you get law and order. That's how you get a civilized society where people aren't just attacking you because they don't look the way they want you to look or say what you want them or say what you want them to say. You always defend yourself, but that does not mean you attack somebody else. And when you defend yourself, you better have evidence that someone attacked you. You better have evidence to justify attacking somebody else in defense. You better be in imminent danger. And simply disagreeing with somebody else does not warrant a personal attack against them. That's childhood schoolyard behavior. Okay? You can discuss issues and concepts, but it's time to grow up and stop acting like a spoiled adolescent child. By the way, your peers gaslight you into weaponized resistance. Your peers aren't benevolent. Your peers will get you in trouble, and they will have you attack yourself and others to the point of prosecutable offense. And your peers are also your government, okay? Remember the black bloc? The people the government trolls? Oh yeah. You have no idea who people are. You have no idea. Okay? When you think about everyone who's been programmed heavily by whoever is a government asset. All of us are government assets. And so now you have to figure out, what are you being used for? What are you doing? And so your peers will get you in trouble, and they will have you attack yourself and others to the point of prosecutable offenses. And your peers are also your government. So it will take an extremely discerning person to make choices for themselves based upon their personal intentions and the law. If you choose to attack yourself, it must be through FDA-approved protocols, and you're making a choice for yourself. And the government tries to regulate people who recommend others to attack themselves through cures, surgeries, and remedies. Obviously, they can't control all of you. But maybe that was not the intention, to control all of you. They wanted you to want to be attacked through the cures, to resist pain and suffering, self-inflicted pain and suffering. So that's why I don't listen to my peers anymore. I only listen to my government when I have to pay my taxes and follow the laws of roads and licenses. Because nobody is benevolent. Everybody has an angle. It's up to you to figure out what it is. We've been trained very well by the system to manipulate each other and gaslight each other. It's time to get smart. And when I tell people to think for themselves, I mean walk the fuck away from everybody and provide an argument against those who used to hang out with and support. If you truly want to think for yourself, right, one would leave society and leave all the activist groups and even provide an argument for the government and realize your peers are the government. They're controlled opposition. Every single one of your peers are controlled opposition because you're controlled and regulated by a governing force called your government. That's why, you must be an island unto yourself, watching and observing people destroy themselves and others through legalized government-sanctioned methods. Weaponized resistance is a psychological methodology to destroy people who don't want to change, who would destroy you if given the chance. But you don't want to give them that opportunity, and so you give them the choice. People who hate others, who hate diversity and evolution, can't handle their own evolution, and they would destroy themselves over time. And they find like-minded people to do the same thing by gaslighting their friends and family into such resistance that they would destroy each other. That's called family and friends and activism. You're in an environment, an environmental, psychological, and also a biophysical war. The war is different for everybody out there. The West is in a psychological microbial war, and the West's lifestyle has been weaponized against them in a different environment. So before, in the old world, you were okay with taking on microbes because the time in between the exposure and the growth would be far enough that you could probably release the demons. And if you had to get treated, you would, and you wouldn't be dealing with too many diagnosable conditions until way later on in life. And so it was perfectly fine. Everyone was like having fun, mixing together and doing whatever, having sex with everybody and having a bunch of kids. Okay, fine. Now in this environment, it's so aggressive and so influential that all of your traditions have been weaponized against you, and the growth is astronomical that people are not surviving their friends and their family and even their children. And so the war is different for everybody. Okay? The West is in a psychological microbial war, and their lifestyle has also been weaponized against them in a different environment. Africa is in a sexual war of family and dating, and they are being given choices to read books and better themselves through capitalism, right? Capitalizing on each other, which is what we have done, and exploiting each other, which is what we have done, and influencing, repeating what we did. They're being given an opportunity to study philosophy and Western ideals. So we're going to watch Africa repeat what we did. Exploiting friends and family, taking on all the sexuality, big families, and discussing and debating sexual orientation, religion, and politics. Okay? The war is different for everybody. I saw right away when the pandemic first came out, I knew exactly what was going to happen. It was going to be bad. That was just the beginning. I knew it was going to get worse. How worse, I didn't know. But I knew it was going to be bad. Some third world countries are in an actual physical war. Recognize the war you're in and act accordingly. Give me 1 second. All right, whatever. History always repeats to those who don't know history. And you're seeing people doomed to repeat it. I'm not repeating history. And that's why I walked away. I stayed home and stayed safe. And I had to work hard to resist my husband trying to get me out there with everybody. And it's difficult when people don't feel anything and they think it's just like, a conspiracy or whatever. They think it's all in my head, and you're hearing all the comments, and, oh, this is only temporary, it's just Biden. Once we get Trump in, everything will be great. And I'm like, no, no. It's only going to get worse, and I'm not going to be out there. I'm not. And how do you explain to people who expect you to be out there, who expect you to party with them, who think you're weird and stupid and whatever? How do you tell them this stuff when people don't even feel it, or they're under the influence? Or they're so programmed? How do you? You can't. And that's a suffering in of itself, trying to fight for your own life. When you are around people who want you to be out there mixing in with diverse company. And so I had to be sick and go through the hives where my husband saw it, because he didn't believe the shit. I'll tell you, he was one of the biggest resistors of where I was coming from. And I completely understand. He didn't understand. Now he gets it. People are dropping like flies around him or having issues. And once it hits home, once your friends and family around you are dropping like flies, it might hit home and maybe you might have a chance to change. But he had to see me deal with hives to see how the growth was affecting me being around him. But he came home last night. I had a few hives this morning. That's about it. Nothing major. Okay? But that's the thing that you have to realize, that unless people are experiencing and they're uncured, okay? And they're uncured, they won't believe you. They will think you're fucking crazy. And then they might even die anyways. They might die suddenly and they'll never understand where you're coming from. And it's okay. They don't need to understand it, because if they die anyways, they die suddenly, then there's one less person you have to resist. That's the thing, is resisting your friends and family are going to be the hardest things than resisting your government who's doing nothing to you. Resisting your friends and family are what you need to do to save yourself, but people don't. They resist their own self-inflicted pain. They resist their own pain and suffering. And they actively destroy themselves through surgeries, through remedies. And you can't say anything to them. You can't. It's not for you to say. But the hardest thing of all is to resist your husband, your wife, your children, your uncles, your aunts, your closest friends, and say, hey, I'm going to stay home here. We don't need to hang out because I don't want my microbes destroying you. Okay? That's the hardest thing of all, is to stand up to the people you love the most, to the people you respect the most, to the people you hang out with the most. That was one of the hardest things I had to do, was walk the fuck away. And sometimes you have to be so harsh in how you walk away because you see where it's going to end up. And you try not to target anyone, but you try to speak in more of a general point of view, though people know who you're talking about if there's an actual situation. But you find a way to defend yourself without completely attacking somebody else. But you have to defend yourself, and that means explaining to people your side of it. But people say, you don't have to explain your side of it. Yeah, you fucking do. It's your duty to explain your side of things. So that way people understand, and maybe they can see on their end and give them a chance to figure out and give them words to say. Thanks, Shauna. Give them words to say to help them figure out how to resist their friends and family's advances of forcing them into situations they don't belong in. It's your fucking duty to explain yourself. That's why I do. Okay, Shauna, stop. I'm not here sorry. I'm not here to respond back and forth. If you don't like my language, then don't listen. All right. And so, how do you survive biological attacks from your friends and family and environment? You defend yourself and survive, become stronger. Sometimes that requires you leaving the group mentality. And so that's why I walked away. I must have been here before in a prior life or given the glimpse of the world before this. I don't know, but I'm not playing with everybody else. I'm not. I'm trying to save myself. How do you survive biological attacks from your friends and family and the environment? You defend yourself and survive it. Become stronger. Sometimes that requires you leaving the group mentality. Sometimes it's physically disengaging yourself from society and only going out in public when it is necessary. You can't prove anything as far as biological attacks. And even if you think you can, it doesn't matter if you can't defend yourself and survive it. So even if you can prove that they are biologically attacking you, if you can't fucking survive it, it won't matter anyways. You're going to die anyways. You don't have a defense system. You have no argument. What do you mean you have no argument? You don't have a strong immune system to release the demons. The air is EPA approved. The food and water is FDA approved. So what's your issue? Oh, but now it's government working. No. The issue is that you have a compromised immune system. And so we're in Darwinism, survival of the fittest. This has been in plans for decades. You've been outsmarted, evolve or perish. See, this shit's not fucking funny. I don't play around with this information. I really don't. I don't want to barter with this information. I don't play this game of, oh, well, you support me and I support you type of bullshit. No. This information is not something that I go and barter and trade back and forth and laugh at and whatever. No, this is some serious fucking shit. This is some serious stuff here. People are fucking dying because they won't change. Not that I can make them change. But people are fucking dying, and this is not a laughing matter, and this is not something that you play with. This is some stuff that people have to consider if they want to save themselves, if they can save themselves. Some people are too far gone, way far gone, and I'm not talking to them. There are some people that can handle this information, and they see the seriousness, and they're not laughing, they're not jockeying with me, and they're not trying to sell me on anti-government bullshit. This is information to consider. It's not for sale. It's out there for free. Even the book that I have, $5 as an ebook. $20 for a freaking paper or for a hardback or for a paperback. $30 for a hardback. Oh, God, so expensive. Then buy the $5. The reason why I have the books out there, so you saw and can see my background and a little bit of my journey and show you that somebody can fucking do it. I'm not trying to be your friend. I'm not trying to be your savior. I'm just trying to show you that somebody is able to save themselves and win despite everything working against them. What do you mean by win? Because I'll tell you, what is life to me? Life is not being asymptomatic. Life is not a game to me. Life is, sometimes you have to take on information that's a little bit painful. And you have to find a way to release the old world, bring in the new world, whatever that is, and go through an evolution. It's not being cured, because I figured out in physics and thermodynamics that if you try to stay cured, which people are doing, resisting life, resisting evolution, they don't fucking survive, they die. They die suddenly resisting life and evolution. When they think life is being completely asymptomatic and partying up and not even looking at indicators and nothing matters except their pleasure and paradise and hormone plucking, then that's fine. They'll die suddenly. But I realize how serious life is, and it's been fucking serious the last 3 years. I've been feeling it. The last 3 fucking years. And people who are under the influence or have a stronger immune system because maybe they're Rh negative and they're O, right? Blood type O, they don't get it. But I am O positive. I got it. But there are some people out there who are A positive. And maybe they haven't been maybe they're under the doctor's care. We have people who are A positive have been under surgeries, going through weight loss programs. So even though they don't feel it per se of what's going on, they've already gone through the medical system. Now it's a matter of time how it's going to affect them. Because when people who are A positive, right, they're taking on weight and they have antigen and they don't have the antibodies. And so then they have to turn to the weight loss medical system where they're carving out, sucking out the fat or doing whatever. Gastric bypass. See, the Rh positives, it's the gaining of the weight, right? Then when you think about when you're blood type A and B and you're a positive, it's a lot of things working against you. You're holding on to demons inside and they're sucking the life out of you. It's the negatives that also are working against the B's and the A's, but it's the negatives that are offsetting the O's. So me, I'm O positive. I'm taking on everything in the world and I have to release the demons. My husband, O negative, he has energy like you wouldn't believe. That's how we're able to balance out, what's going on. But sometimes we do resist each other and then we have to go to our separate corners so the resistance doesn't become something destructive. Okay? And so we're in Darwinism, survival of the fittest. This has been in plans for decades. You've been outsmarted, evolve or perish. And so, yeah, some people will not get this. Some people will not understand this. And they think, it's like they don't take it seriously because they don't see how serious it is. And that's what you have to deal with is people who out there who are living this normalcy bias, that everything is great and wonderful. And it's all ha-ha and yeah, whatever. And that's great. If they don't see how serious this is, then it's like ignorance is bliss. I'm not saying they're ignorant, but when you don't see how serious this is, you'll think everything is fun and games until the pain sets in, until they're faced with something. Okay? I don't say I envy, but I'm like, wow, when people can be so, everything is so ha-ha and fun and everything is just a joke to them. Good for you. But I see the severity. I don't want someone diminishing where I'm coming from. I don't want someone making fun of where I'm coming from. I don't. So that's why I don't fuck around with people. That's why I don't have patience for people who make fun of this shit. Because it is serious. People are dropping like fucking flies. Because they don't take it seriously. So the WAF will be discussing Disease X on January 17, 2024 as part of their annual meeting in Davos. With fresh warnings from the World Health Organization that an unknown Disease X could result in 20 times more fatalities than the coronavirus pandemic. What novel efforts are needed? Right there serves as a warning. That's why this is not ha-ha to me. This is not fucking make fun of Jillian today. This is not make light of what I'm doing. This is not correct Jillian today. This shit's fucking serious. This shit is serious. FYI, condition now, if you can't get out of my world because this is not your world. You will make fun of this until your dying day. With fresh warnings from the World Health Organization that an unknown disease X could result in 20 times more fatalities than the coronavirus pandemic, what novel efforts are needed to prepare the healthcare systems for the multiple challenges ahead? You're getting fair warning. 2017. Why am I saying that? January 17th. Jesus Christ. Whatever. And so I posted that thing with the truth behind it. This guy he's a blogger, and he posted about Charles Manson, that the swastika on his forehead was actually drawn in because they're always looking different. Anyways, learn about the world you live in. Read all the comments in the original post. I learned about Charles Manson just watching the documentaries, the YouTube videos, and even just some of the posts out there. and articles and websites. And then I know that my mom had a book in her bookcase called Helter Skelter. I've had I recognized a song that was very familiar to me, but I can't place where I've heard it. That was, What's Your Game, Girl, through Charles Manson singing it. My fascination with serial killers and what made them tick. I have a feeling that even Jodi Arias was gone through her own programming that made her so violent that she was probably had the same kind of programming I did, but she was shown violence and I wasn't, because she was able to destroy her boyfriend that didn't succumb to her. And that's not me. I was not shown violence as a child, but she was programmed. So Google Jodi. I was watching those courtroom trials, and she's fucking smart. She was smart, manipulative, gorgeous. And so there's people out there that have gone through so many different programmings, and some end up in jail. He ended up in jail. She's in jail. It's so close to home too, because prepaid legal. I also got involved with prepaid legal the same time that she did. It was almost like we were living parallel lives. She's in Northern California. I'm in Northern California. And she went the same road, photography. I mean, it was so eerily similar. So there's been a lot of fucking programming out there in people. People don't even know they were programmed. But then you see their background. Anna Nicole Smith, you see Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, all these people in Hollywood, government assets, okay? But now everything is coming out, and you're watching people act out the programming as the environment is influencing. This shit's serious. This is nothing to laugh about. This is nothing to make fun of. The irony is the government today is trying to overthrow the people in favor of a new system. In the 1960s, the people were trying to overthrow the government because they were tired of all the different issues of discrimination, wars, women's rights, and whatever. That was through the Weather Underground. Bob Dylan, the Beatles, the people of his generation, my parents' generation, silent gens and boomers. But you can't do that. You can't overthrow your government and have all-out anarchy and extinction. You have to learn how to work within the system and condition people for change. Today, the government is trying to overthrow the people who live in archaic times, and they have been conditioning you to change for years, and you and your parents resisted, but you were still conditioned predictive programming. Your peers were also conditioning you. They told you climate change was coming. The system told you climate change is an environmental forcible overthrow of archaic systems, some of you, and they warned you. All right, I'm going to ban you from the stream. I don't know how you keep coming in, but fuck. Just stop commenting, please. Just stop. Okay, Shauna? Just no more commenting right now. I get you like learning this stuff, but this is not the time now to go back and forth, okay? This is not the time. Please, let me just get through this. The system told you climate change is an environmental forcible overthrow of the archaic systems, some of you. And they warn you of inclement weather and potential flooding of the coastlines. You could choose to ignore the warnings and stay where you are. You have no one to blame but yourself if you don't move. Or you could behaviorally change and make the effort to get somewhere safer, relatively safer. As the resisting people are going back and forth to the 14th century to justify the 21st century. Okay, so you're watching people resisting what's going on by going back to way back old information. They're not evolving with the information now. And so this is not your parents' revolution, okay? The children have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on. I just sit here and observe while I chuckle. Okay, so just so you know, I'm not looking for agreement. I'm not looking for people to support me or agreement or kind words. I'm not looking for any of that. I'm not looking to be friends, okay? I'm looking to give you guys information, and then if you happen to say, hey, I've been doing this, this, and this is how I've behaviorally changed. I have gained weight. Thank you, Grace, for that. I'm trying to move away from my roommates and go somewhere different. I get now where you're coming from. That's what I want to hear from people. I don't want to hear, oh, I agree with you, Jillian. Oh, that's great. Or here, let me give you more information on top of what you have, Jillian. Let me help you with it. No, I'm not looking for that. Again, I don't want friends. Because friends, when you think about it, friends will have you distracted in other bullshit. When I said those posts before, people don't need friends. They need someone to give them another glimpse, another perspective. And I don't need agreement. I don't need your support. What I need is for me to get this out and people take it on and consider the information. And if they can, take it seriously. If they can't take it seriously, that's fine. But again, I'm not looking for friends. I have friends, yes, we call it friends on Facebook. And I try to support people without overstepping boundaries. But since I come out publicly, people think it's a chance to interact on such a level. But I'm looking for a different kind of interaction. I'm looking for people to actually give me behavioral proof by them saying, yeah, I get it. I was 85 pounds and now I'm 135. Yeah, I was going to take that surgery. I was going to do that surgery because they told me to do it, but it's a voluntary surgery. It wasn't an emergency, so I'm choosing not to do it. I'm going to do this. And wow, look, I disappeared this, I disappeared that. That's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking for people I'm just telling you what I'm looking for. And I'm not looking for friendship. I'm looking to give people another representation. And sometimes it's nice to get feedback that they are representing something different in their world. And they're willing to share it with me. And to the public, because my Facebook is open. But again, I'm not looking for friends or agreement. Or even disagreement. I'm not looking to be converted either. Okay? So I say this because I respect people on my Facebook. And I know how easy it is to get distracted. I know how easy it is to get caught up in somebody else's world. And so I'm trying not to get caught up in other people's worlds and other people's ways of doing things. I have to stay on target. And so this is not your parents' revolution. The children have absolutely no idea what the hell is going on. I just sit here and observe while I chuckle. Millennials don't impress me. Neither does Generation Z. I mean, it's nice that Mark Zuckerberg developed Facebook. Thank you. I mean, I'm impressed with that. Thank you. But the average millennial out there doing what they're doing, they don't really impress me too much. Okay? Because they've been programmed in a specific way. And they will act out their programming, and if you let them in, they will try to impose their way onto you. And that's the thing with friends, is that the stronger ones will overwhelm the weaker ones. That's why friends and family are so deadly. It's because you see you see the blood types and the size of people and their influence. And when you get together with people, it's always the most influential that will overwhelm and destroy the weaker ones. Even if it's not physically, like overtly, like certain violence, but it's the microbes. And sometimes you can't tell which microbes are stronger and more influential. And so even looks can be deceiving. Okay? And so, yeah, the millennials don't impress me. Neither does Gen Z. Boomers are on their way out the door. Gen X are the variables. They're either dying suddenly or trying to fight to stay alive despite the millennials and the boomers and Gen Z. Remember, I've been fighting, resisting the millennials in the world that I was living in, resisting the boomers in the world that I'm living in, resisting even the other Gen X people in the world that I'm living in. And so look at all the died suddenly groups, the 50s. People in their 50s are dying suddenly. Those are the Gen X. Those are Gen X, along with boomers and millennials. They're fucking dying suddenly. This is some serious shit. What is revolution? A forcible overthrow of a government or social order in favor of a new system. So the system is overthrowing the people, but they're giving you a chance. But you have to know who the enemy is. And it's not the government. It's your friends and your family. That's what you have to realize. And sometimes your friends and family are the government. And then you're like, what the fuck? Yeah, then you have to have more discernment to figure out how you're going to survive your friends and family and the society you live in. And so when that guy was coming on and was trying to politely argue with me, thinking that he had a right to say what he said because he was supporting me and bought my book and all. I could give a shit if you buy my book. That's not a leverage piece. My book is not to be used to leverage your belief system onto mine. You're forcing, I didn't go and solicit you to buy my book so I can listen to your beliefs. That's what some of these people do when they go on to, when they attach themselves to other influencers. It's a partnership. It's a partnership where they get their piece out, the other person gets their piece out, and they share the audience. Well, no, I'm not being forced into a partnership with some stranger. That's what that guy was expecting, is I'd be in partnership with him. Well, I bought your books, and now you must listen to me. And I let him put his stuff on my Facebook. I didn't delete it. I let you guys see what the hell he said. I don't care. I'm not going back and forth with him. But you see how people assume partnership, assume that they have a relationship with you because they said they support you in what you're doing, that they bought your book. So it means that you now have to go and buy what they have. Yeah, that's called religion. That's called forcible conversion. That's called major manipulation and even gaslighting if you don't succumb to what they want. And if you stand up for yourself, then you're the enemy. If you put down boundaries, then you're the enemy. You're intolerant to them. No, you came into my world. You posted on my Facebook. You forced me to listen to what you had to say. I didn't go into your world. You came into my world. I don't barter my beliefs. They aren't for sale. Just let you know, since my book is $5 or $25 or $20 or $30, my book is not a bargaining chip so you can ram your belief system down my throat. No different than if you support me, think that I should support you. That's a manipulation. That's when people suck up to you because they have a business or beliefs that they want promoted. And they suck up to you, maybe you would promote them. And if they suck up to you, maybe you would promote them. My world is not a negotiating piece for your politics, religion, or science. I don't care if you buy my book or not. I really don't fucking care. Save your money because you'd only resist my book. But thanks for the free energy. I appreciate it. It really wasn't free. It required me to pay for it through energy. Support someone because you support them because of authenticity, not because you expect something back. That's manipulation. And I don't want people kissing my ass either. I don't want them giving me kindness and love. I don't need your kindness. I don't need your love. I don't need your support. I want to hear you're helping your fucking self. I want to hear you helping yourself. I want to hear you saving yourself. I want to see people actually save themselves through the ways that are completely opposite of what their friends and family are doing, or what they probably would do before my information. That's what I want to see. When you're shown that microbes will attack you and certain blood types are more susceptible to situations than others, I like to see people saying, hey, I'm not going to be out there. I'm staying here. And I'm like, good. That's great. So I'm not for sale. Okay? Ideas are not something to barter. They are something to consider. What is bartering? Bartering is an exchange of goods and services between two or more people without the use of money. It is the oldest form of commerce. Individuals and companies barter goods and services between each based on equivalent estimates of prices and goods. That dude assumed that I was for sale. He assumed I would buy what he had. He was selling me something. That's why I stay in my world. Nobody can accuse me of imposing my beliefs onto anyone or pressure them into buying my beliefs. That's left up to the religious folk to try to proselytize and force convert people. You will find religious folk will drive by my page and attempt to force convert me. I'll play for a minute because it's manipulative. And I don't want to come off completely intolerant. But you see how they come in, they compliment you, then they say this and that, and all of a sudden they have an agenda. And maybe they'll do little insults or they kiss your ass to such an extent. And then you see what the real intention is. It's manipulation. That's like a snake worming its way into your world. But first they laden you down with compliments. And they love you to death. And they respect you, they say. I'll play for a minute, and then when I'm bored, see you later. It's the same old fucking story. Anti-government this, anti-government that, because that's where I drew the line. When he was talking about anti-government, I knew where he was going. I had to allow him to give me enough rope so I can see how he was going to hang the situation. Yeah, revolutions go round and round and round and round and round. I've been there. I've done that. All right, so we're in exciting times. The West is in the race to see which evolution will meet whatever intended outcome faster. No matter what, time is the ultimate equalizer because we are in a marathon. This is not a race because you have no idea what other people's intended outcomes are. This is a race with yourself. People are in such a hurry to prove something, such as life, to somebody else that they die suddenly because to them, life is being asymptomatic. I, on the other hand, have a completely different thought process around life. So we are in different races, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of information you have when we are competing in different races. Before you compare yourself to others, you better figure out what you're comparing yourself to. You might be comparing apples to oranges. But again, that's not for me to say to you. You'll figure it out because he could be like a born-again Christian. And to him, saving himself means that he'll go to heaven, wherever that is. And he wants to be asymptomatic. There are people out there that want to be so asymptomatic, thinking that all their protocols, their remedies, their surgeries, and all their belief system is going to give them the life and save them from the New World Order. And really, when you think about it, the sickness and the release process and the eating all the food and staying home and staying safe might actually save your life. But again, people's lives are, they got to be out there. They have been programmed to be socially dependent on their friends and family. They are programmed to go and take out everything that causes them pain. They've been programmed to resist life. They've been programmed to resist the government who does nothing to them. They've been programmed to resist pain and suffering. They've been programmed to resist anything that is adverse or change. And then they invite the devil into their living room. They invite the vampires into their house. And so then they resist the government. Some of you are right-wing Republicans in the religious world and you hate handouts, but you can't seem to understand why you pay your fair share of what you use, like taxes. And maybe it's time to acknowledge what the system built for you didn't happen without people behind the scenes. It wasn't fucking magic. So when someone said on this post, every American should be asking themselves these questions. Why am I paying taxes on my wages? Oh my God. Then paying sales tax to spend my money. Then paying income taxes on my money they already taxed, and paying property taxes after I already paid sales tax on said property. And so some simpleton would be like, yeah, why? They don't go and research what taxes are for. They don't even fucking Google anything. And so I said, not every American feels entitled. Not every American is a spoiled fucking brat. Okay? And so children want handouts and a free ride, and they protest rules and they rebel. Some of you are children. Taxes on wages. These taxes include federal, state, and local income tax, and the employee share of Social Security and Medicare taxes. Taxes that employers must pay include their share of FICA as well as federal and state unemployment taxes. Sales tax, not on food in general. Food consumed in premises for here or dine-in is subject to sales tax paid by the customer. Food not consumed on premises to go or take out is exempt from sales tax. However, a soft drink is always taxable no matter where the beverage is consumed. In the United States, it's not a federal tax, but rather a state and local tax. Sales tax revenues is used to fund various government programs and services such as education, transportation, healthcare. Also, it's a form of indirect tax, meaning that it is a tax that can be shifted to others. Income tax. What is income tax? The individual income tax for personal income tax is a tax levied on the wages, salaries, dividends, interest, and other income to a person earns throughout the year. The tax is generally imposed by the state in which the income is earned. Payroll tax equals wage tax, not equal to income tax. Payroll tax is closely associated with both the employer and the employee, with both parties essentially splitting the tax. However, income tax is a burden on just the employee, abiding to the tax bracket system based off an employee's gross annual income tax. Property tax, real estate tax. In the state of Ohio, real estate taxes are based upon the appraised value of property. Counties, cities, and towns, villages, and school districts, and special districts each raise money through real estate taxes. Governments have the ability to levy taxes upon land located within their jurisdiction. The money collected from taxes funds schools, pays for police and fire protection, maintains roads, and support community services such as libraries and parks. So please shut the fuck up regarding taxes. I'm so tired of children not understanding how shit works. I'm so fucking tired of it. In my opinion, people don't need friends. They need someone to tell them another perspective that would counter beliefs. Friends have done enough damage, and you don't need enemies. So what's left? We need people representing something completely different to give you a choice. You can call them friends or enemies. I don't care. Call them whatever you want. But we need people to give us a choice, not confirm our beliefs. Even the people in the J world can't confirm my beliefs because you have no idea what they're confirming. We live day by day. Get strong through the suffering, try to make changes, and there's still no guarantee of anything, but we keep building and evolving. It becomes dangerous when you're not allowed to challenge your friends. Friends don't challenge you. So you stay in your corner and you give people the options to observe you and consider your thought process, because friends have a habit of trying to convert you and also overwhelm you, and it's involuntary. A stronger friend will overwhelm the weaker ones. Then you see who's left standing after everything is said and done, when everything comes out in the wash. I don't want to destroy people. I don't want to be your friend, but I also want to interact with you on an equal level. It is possible, but you must have the ability to communicate through the written word with a little bit of respect, and a little bit of respect through communication goes a long way. But I don't want someone just, kissing my ass. I don't want someone just laying it on thick. I don't want that. In other words, I want to know that someone can strategize their survival despite everything working against them. I don't want something to do it for me unless it's really out of my I don't want someone to do it for me unless it's really out of my expertise. But I want to know people are surviving adverse conditions. I want the hope, even if it doesn't pan out the way I expect. Hope is what keeps people going. Change is what potentially can help them survive. Hope and change. Oh, where did that come from? Oh, yeah. Obama. Oh, boy. Remember how cold it was a few years ago? Yeah, the polar vortex. Yeah. And plus the frequencies. Yeah, you'll get heart attacks and strokes. And so conditioning. Oh, yeah, the suffering is inevitable. Will you survive it? Conditioning. It takes conditioning to survive all the inevitable suffering. Welcome to the next challenge, the polar vortex. Here we go. This will be bad, is bad. Women, men, prepare yourselves. Firewood, water, heat, warm clothes, blankets, downsize. How will you survive on your own when shiz gets real bad? People cannot keep you warm. Only you can keep yourself warm. Do you have the body, the blankets, the tolerance level? Have you been conditioned to suffer from extreme cold, heat, and no creature comforts? Can you hunker down and lessen your movements lest you might get marooned in a third world country? Sometimes your own town could be a third world country, because then the roads are blocked. You can't get to the water, the food, the gas, whatever. Survival skills is not just hunting and fishing and setting up tents. It is biologically adaptable to extreme conditions. I mean extreme conditions. Yeah, heart attacks and strokes happen in extreme heat and cold. Can you handle high protein, high fat, carbs, etc. to survive extreme conditions? Are you food intolerant? The coast might be spared the polar vortex, but Middle America and the South will be tested. The three coasts will have their own day of catastrophes. They already have. But the Middle America and the South will be blasted by the extreme conditions, and I hope you have strong vital organs, food, and well-functioning immune system to handle this extreme climate change. Which is also why I am not so skinny trying to look hot and sexual for strangers or anyone. The weight that I have is my climate control station, so it can expand and contract when the barometric pressure rises and falls. Blood type O has that capability, so as long as they have food. Not only does your home need to be conditioned for extreme weather, but also your body, your temple. Okay, this is where I went to the modern woman. Because I hear chicks out there and they're all about their friends and their family and everything. They're like, oh, I'm an independent woman. I live by myself and But as soon as push comes to shove and they're like, I can't do this, then they're asking everyone on Facebook, do this for me. And they're saying, oh yeah, I'm an independent woman. Look here, look at all my friends I'm hanging out with. We're having a girls' night out. See, look at all my friends. Yeah, okay. You know what independent woman is? When she says she has no friends. She's on her own. Maybe she's married, maybe she's not. She doesn't ask Facebook how to do something. She doesn't go and invade anyone else's space by just barraging them with whatever. She can solve her own problems, develop her own, solutions. And if push comes to shove, she will pay for someone to come in and take care of something because it's out of her hands. A modern woman, it takes an extremely strong person to be on their own. I mean extremely strong. The men who allow women to do things on their own, to learn things on their own without them, are fucking amazing men. Because I've seen someone post say, oh yeah, if you have to do things on your own, woman, if you have to do things on your own, whatever, then you're with the wrong man. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? You're taking the women back to the fucking dark ages. Are you serious? The men who allow women to do things on their own, to learn things on their own without them, are fucking amazing men. They're not making you dependent on them. Men who allow their women to spread their wings are the fucking most amazing men in the whole world. Thank you, my husband. Because the fact that he is on the truck most of the time forced me to figure out how I was going to deal with stuff and even look at what it is that if something happened to him and he wasn't around, what would I have to do to, make sure that my water heater, my plumbing, my HVAC, exhaust systems, my electrical panel, and even fixing lights and doing stuff and even replacing certain things. And I mean, I look at, if I was by myself, what would I have to do? Because some women are forced to bring in people, their friends, their family, or a boyfriend or a new husband because they can't do it on their own. And then you're you're in that relationship so they can do shit that you couldn't do. And then you could be inviting the devil into your living room yet again. So thank you, my husband. Because way in the future, I do not want to depend upon friends and family. I will pay my way through society if I need help or do shit on my own. There will be a day when no one is there to help you. And what will you do on your own? The world is a conditioning process for the women not to depend upon their friends and family or their husbands or wives to do shit for them. You think you're an independent woman and you're not married? Why don't you stop asking Facebook to help you with shit? Stop depending on your friends to go drinking and doing drugs together and be on your own. Literally do shit on your own without relying on your friends. So I don't want to hear how independent you are when you rely on your girlfriends to hang out with you all the time when you're lonely. I dare any single woman to post they have no friends. I don't have friends. I have people that I have agreement with, that I'm in projects with, that we are exchanging information back and forth. I'm representation. And I have I have acquaintances, but I don't have friends. I have acquaintances. Because friends will try to overwhelm you. Friends will go and tempt you to destroy yourself. Acquaintances realize that there's boundaries, that they don't have an in like they do with other people, and they are able to go and destroy somebody through temptation, through addictions. So I have acquaintances, not friends. I dare any single woman to post they have no friends and they can pay their way and they don't have to depend upon people to survive. I dare you. I'm married. I made a business arrangement that is both benefit for both him and I. Because I'm going to tell you, he couldn't do what he's doing today if it wasn't for me managing the background. Because if I wasn't paying the bills on time and going through the projects that I do to make sure that he has what he needs, that the world isn't working against him, because he has to put his mind to his job and to whatever. And I got to deal with other stuff here that he doesn't have to deal with. So I'm in a business contract with my husband that has certain allowances to keep us both relatively satisfied in our agreement. And so I dare any single woman to post they have no friends and they can pay their way and they don't have to depend upon people to survive. I dare you. I depend on my government to give me an infrastructure, and if I don't know something, I will pay someone for their services. But I'm not looking for a handout from anyone. I don't ask my Facebook to help me out with shit. I fucking do it on my own, and I'm married. My husband I have a division of labor, and then if one or both of us have issues with, we will pick up the slack with each other. The key thing is not to survive on the kindness of strangers or your friends and family. The key thing is to be relatively self-sufficient in a community of people. I feel weird asking Facebook anything. I feel weird asking somebody for help. If I have to have somebody else help me, maybe I shouldn't do it. Maybe it's my problem, not theirs. If I have an issue with plumbing or car trouble, I will elicit a professional or someone I know who knows how to do it, and I will pay them. I don't suck the life out of my friends and family, and I don't expect a good deal from people. Whatever it is they charge based upon what they can afford. That's how women should look at themselves, in my opinion, a modern woman. And if I can't get the help I need at the time, then I will suffer and learn from my mistakes and never make that mistake again, or move from that situation to something that's less taxing, less unstable. But I will fucking suffer before I ask anyone for help, because it's my responsibility. I reap what I sow. I will pay my dues. Pain is an amazing learning tool to survive the fucking world, to survive this fucked up world we are in. That's how I've been able to survive so far. I face the pain and I suffer from my own mistakes, and I intend to learn things on my own. That's a modern woman to me. Modern women reap what they sow. Thanks, Mom. So you'll see me go back and forth with my mother in my head, me being so angry at her, and then all me just thanking her. I mean, it's a fight. It's a fucking fight. So leave the world behind. You're in it. All right. So let me. Shit. Okay. All right. Here we go. I'm going to read this and then go, okay. So resistance to evolution, change, sickness equals the depopulation agenda kicked off in the 1960s. Some resistance develops strength. However, how much is too much? How little is too little? Died suddenly says lack of balanced resistance. Okay, so we have people who are resisting the government, resisting strangers, resisting people that have done nothing to them, but they're allowing their friends and family who they should be resisting right into their living room. They're allowing the medical system and the holistic system right into their living room that they should be resisting, right? Resisting death and destruction. But then you're resisting people who have done nothing to you, but you're letting in the death and destruction into your household and friends, family, medical, holistic, all that stuff. And you're not realizing how to manage the growth when you're around friends and family. And if you're around friends and family, can you lessen the amount of people that you're around? And even then, that may not be enough, but we'll see, right? So some resistance develops strength. However, how much is too much? How little is too little? Died suddenly says lack of balanced resistance. I was raised to resist so hard and was expected to die suddenly. The system expected me to resist myself and them out of existence. But my own protocol and change saved my ass. I win, Mother. Or did you win? Was this what you expected, the J world? What was your intention, Mom? I will never know. Gen X, we are the variables. I'm just glad I was not loved to death. Thank you, Mom. Your programming and mine saved my ass. That government programming saved my ass. Thank you, government. My own government saved my ass. Thanks, America. My protocol and evolution gave me the clear head to become the evolution and prototype I can respect. Even if you don't respect me, I respect myself. And the other side of it, when mothers resist their family's intention to change and the family leaves the mother so they can change, people have saved themselves from dying by leaving their family, leaving their mother. Because their mothers tried so hard to hold on to the kids, not allowing them to change and evolve, she was sucking the life out of them. My mother was not like that. Okay, she was the one that she was whatever she was that made me resist so hard that I had to leave. Which meant that she would never be that one to hold on so tight to stop me from evolving. She let me evolve. She said, hey, sink or swim. You will sink or swim. My mother was not like that. But you see other parents and mothers exactly the opposite. Mothers and fathers so in fear of their kids changing to save themselves. The depopulation agenda was all about resistance to change via holding on to family and friends so tight or aggressing so hard, causing resistance. Okay, so either your friends and family hold on to you so tight so you don't change, or somebody aggressed so hard against you that you resisted. Either way, how are you going to place that resistance? What were you going to target that resistance against? Who would you target that resistance against? So yeah, good luck. We all have been outsmarted. None of us can save anyone, not even themselves. Some not even themselves. I was the fluke, literally. I walked away from all of you aggressing so hard or holding on to so tightly. I have to be mostly on my own or else get sucked into the vortex of desperation. Nope, not me. That's why all the wars were people so desperate in their religion to make connections with everybody, so desperate in their activism to be connected to somebody, not realizing what you're connected to, not realizing who you're connecting to. That was the depopulation agenda. People are so desperate to connect, they'll connect to anyone who will take them. And then all logic goes out the window when you're that desperate to connect with people. And some people do not know how to intellectually connect with people, or only physically, and physically connecting with people in their presence will be deadly if it isn't already, and it is. And that's how the dominoes fall. That's why women and men need to cultivate their brains so they know how to interact with people on an intellectual level, not a physical level. If you're all about the physical, you'll be destroyed. If you must hang out with people in a physical presence, you'll be destroyed, and you will destroy somebody else over time, if not already. That's why the family was cultivated. Charles Manson, the family. So eventually you will destroy each other when all the conditions are right in the future or right now. That was the depopulation agenda. Okay? Don't say I didn't warn you. People have warned you for many years. And so CERN is the vortex of change people are resisting. Oh, and then people in resistance are the casualties of the vortex of change called died suddenly. All medicines, operations, remedies, diets, and even lack of change in lifestyles are people in resistance to change. And some of your blood types and BMIs and mineral fat deposits give you better chance to survive change, but not all the time. That was a little bit. Okay. You were given life by the viral ancestors who invade your genes over and over and over again. Many are the walking dead who refuse to evolve and change and are actively in resistance. They wear a sign of resistance through their lifestyle, belief system, in their politics, religions, and science dogmas. The families, public gatherings, the use of medical, holistic system is the lack of evolution, and not supporting the evolution with drastic changes is a resistance. People do not survive resisting. Just watch the die suddenly groups in your world. Watch people resist self-inflicted pain and suffering, always going back to the doctors, remedies, and naturopathics, only to revisit their situations again, and as they are taking notches and notches down further and further until die suddenly or hospice. Just watch. All right, this is for all the men out there in third world countries, and in third world, like in Africa, Indonesia, Malaysia. These young men that are on the internet, they have access now to the Western ideals, Western women, in this society, paying women compliments as a stranger is viewed as an aggressive manipulation. So some of us made memes that says, okay, men, we are tired of you paying us compliments. We're tired of you coming on here onto our Facebooks and saying, hey, let's be friends. Okay? Men, pay attention. Some women want to relate to their peers on an intellectual level, not a sexual or oh, you look good level. Some women do not want to be viewed as a sex object or a baby maker. Because so you see in third world countries, that's kind of where they're coming from, is they're looking for a wife or a girlfriend or looking for a connection, and the only thing they can relate to you is on your looks. They're not even referring to anything that you're saying on your Facebook. They're just looking at your pictures, or you're on a Facebook Live and they're like, oh, you look good. Oh, you look pretty. Oh, or they're trying to contact you through private message. And then when you block on private message, they still don't get it. And then they try to go and compliment you and only focus on your looks on your Facebook page. That's a base your level instinct mentality. And you will find in different countries when they have not been elevated to a specific intellectual capacity, even in the first world, that people who haven't been elevated intellectually will be all about the body, all about sex, all about drugs, rock and roll, yes, but all about family and baby making and looking hot and sexual, to be a target And they groom their girls to do that and be that, and their boys to be that and do that. And so some women do not want to be viewed as a sex object or a baby maker. Third world societies and third world people living in the first world fail to understand this concept. Some women thrive on men cannibalizing their body, mind, and spirit and image, and I'm not that woman. Some women of the first world have taken women back to the dark ages, making her a target for predators who only live off of sexuality and sexual reproduction. That's why many men are confused as to how to treat women, because many women have different ideas of how they want to be treated. Plastic surgery, family, and the diets and the sex industry has made it very difficult for women to survive without being targeted by predators. That's why I fear for the daughters and sons out there forced into these institutions. And sometimes it's too late. And when men are resistant to evolution, that's why they automatically go to the family. They then go to sexual orientation. And that's how they choose the people they hang out with. And that's why these young girls think how they should fit in is to be sexually appealing. They don't get the luxury to work with their brain because their family worked their body to make them a target. It's fucked up out there for girls, and they're told they are nobody until somebody loves them. Men are told they are nobody until somebody loves them. That's why so many men are so lonely, looking for the one, and they get taken by women who are trying to eat them alive. And it's not even just the parents, it's society, it's the people they hang out with, it's their peers. See, I was not hanging out with my peers all the time. When I was younger, I did a little bit, but my mom said, no, you can't hang out, on that the homecoming float thing. I went to one organization and then one event, and that was it. And I couldn't just hang out. They had to come to the house and hang out. So we just sat on the top of the driveway and looked at, the valley, and I just talked to my friend Sarah, and that was it for like a minute, And so I didn't get the luxury to go and hang out and be influenced by my peers. That was good for my mother. Men are told they're nobody until somebody loves them. That's why so many men are so lonely, looking for the one, and they get taken by women who are trying to eat them alive. People lack respect for themselves. Many people lack evolution, in constant resistance to everything. That's why you get to see the next 7 years what will happen when these patterns finally come to surface. It will be very difficult to dispute. I'm just giving you the playbook. People will figure it out or they won't. Some will have the luxury to figure it out and save themselves, and they will have to watch everything play out. And it will be a suffering like no other. I'm suffering watching, but there's nothing I can do about it. Okay? And so the resistance against a stranger, the resistance against things you can't see, the resistance against the government was all a ploy so that way you let your friends and family in so they can destroy you through the microbes, through the recommendations, through the group think. The activism was also another ploy. Oh, I tell you, yeah. You've been outsmarted, and it is what it is. You can't do anything about it. Some can, but others, too far gone. You can only watch everything play out. And again, you can't change people. You can only observe where I'm coming from and try to do better in your world and try to resist the temptation of pleasure and paradise and your friends and family. And that will be very difficult to those who are very tight-knit, if not impossible. And that was all by design. Literally, your religion, your politics, your science was meant to destroy you and your friends and family. And when you are trapped because you don't make enough money, or you have diseases and you need people around you, or you're in constant pain, so, this is some serious shit to me. I do act very serious about stuff. This is no laughing matter. I am harsh. I'm very harsh. Because now, more than ever, we're going to be seeing some shit. They already told you. January 17th, they're going to discuss Disease X. What the hell do you think is that? What's going to happen? Oh, it's going to be insane. Prepare yourself. Bye.